Juniper Callahan had always believed that food was love made visible. At 25, she was the sous chef at Le Bernardin Elite, one of New York's most exclusive restaurants, working under the legendary chef Laurent Dubois, a man she considered her mentor, her father figure, and her inspiration. "You have real talent, ma petite," Laurent would say, watching Juniper create innovative dishes that combined her grandmother's Irish recipes with modern French techniques. But talent, without business sense, is worthless in this industry. Juniper trusted Laurent completely. She shared her dreams with him, her secret recipes, and most importantly, her revolutionary restaurant concept, Roots and Wings, a farm-to-table restaurant that would celebrate immigrant cuisine while supporting local farmers and providing job training for underprivileged youth. "It's not just about food," Juniper would explain excitedly. "It's about community, culture, and giving back. Each dish tells a story of someone's journey to America." Laurent would nod thoughtfully. "Très intéressant. But you need investors, permits, connections. These things take time to learn." What Juniper didn't know was that Laurent had been secretly recording their conversations, copying her recipes, and documenting every detail of her business plan. While she saw him as a mentor, he saw her as a naive girl whose ideas could make him millions. The betrayal came when Juniper discovered that Laurent had pitched her entire Roots and Wings concept to a group of investors as his own creation. Not only that, but he had also convinced them that Juniper was an unstable employee who had been stealing recipes from the restaurant. "I'm sorry, Juniper," said Marcus Sterling, the restaurant's general manager, "but Chef Laurent has provided evidence that you've been sharing our proprietary recipes with competitors. We have no choice but to terminate your employment immediately." Juniper was devastated. "Those are my recipes, my grandmother's recipes. I created that entire concept. Anyone can claim they created something," Laurent said with cold indifference. "The fact is, I have the business plan, the investor meetings, and the documentation. You're just upset because you're not ready for this level of responsibility." Laurent's betrayal went deeper than just stealing her concept. He had also spread rumors throughout the culinary community that Juniper was unreliable, theft-prone, and emotionally unstable. Within weeks, no reputable restaurant would hire her. "You should probably stick to catering small events," Laurent texted her. "The real restaurant business is too demanding for someone like you." Juniper lost her apartment, her savings, and her entire culinary network. She had to move back to her small hometown in rural Ireland, where she worked at her family's struggling pub, the Emerald Isle. "Don't lose heart, love," her grandmother Bridget would say, watching Juniper cry over the prep station. "Sometimes the strongest trees grow from the most broken soil." For 2 years, Juniper worked in obscurity, serving simple pub food and trying to keep her family's business afloat, but she never stopped experimenting, creating, and dreaming of the day she would return to the culinary world. Her breakthrough came when she met Elena Vasquez, a food blogger who was traveling through Ireland documenting hidden culinary gems. Elena was actually a talent scout for an exclusive group of culinary investors who specialized in discovering exceptional chefs. "Your food is extraordinary," Elena said, tasting Juniper's innovative take on traditional Irish stew. "Have you ever considered competing in underground culinary competitions?" Elena introduced Juniper to a network of wealthy, anonymous investors who funded promising chefs without requiring them to reveal their identities. They were impressed by Juniper's talent and offered her unlimited resources to build her culinary empire. "We want you to create something revolutionary," they told her, "something that will change the restaurant industry forever." Working under the brand name Phoenix Kitchens, Juniper began opening pop-up restaurants that took the culinary world by storm. Her food was featured in underground dining experiences, praised by critics who called her the mysterious genius changing how we think about food. Meanwhile, Laurent's restaurant empire was crumbling. After stealing Juniper's concept, he had never been able to create anything original. His Roots and Wings restaurants were failing because he didn't understand the heart behind the concept, the community connection, the cultural authenticity, the social mission. Laurent Dubois seems to have lost his creative edge, wrote Food and Wine magazine. His latest ventures lacked the soul and innovation that made him famous. Laurent's restaurant chain was hemorrhaging money. Investors were pulling out, locations were closing, and his reputation was in freefall. He desperately needed a miracle to save his culinary empire from bankruptcy. That's when he heard about a mysterious investor known only as Phoenix, who was reportedly interested in buying struggling restaurant chains and transforming them into global successes. "This could be our salvation," Laurent told his business partner. "If we can convince Phoenix to invest in our restaurants, we'll be saved." Laurent spent months trying to arrange a meeting with Phoenix. He pulled every string, called in every favor, and finally managed to secure a meeting at a private estate in the Irish countryside. The meeting was set for evening in an elegant dining room overlooking the rolling hills. Laurent arrived wearing his most expensive suit, carrying a portfolio of his latest menu concepts, desperate to make a good impression. As the sun began to set, a figure emerged from the kitchen wearing chef's whites. Laurent's heart stopped when he saw who it was. "Hello, Laurent," Juniper said, removing her chef's hat to reveal her face. "I believe you wanted to meet Phoenix." Laurent's face went white. "Juniper, but how? This is impossible. You're just a small-town pub cook now. You can't be." "Can't be what? Successful? Wealthy? Powerful?" Juniper smiled. "The same things you said I'd never be when you stole my concept and destroyed my reputation." "I didn't steal anything," Laurent protested. "That concept was developed collaboratively, was it?" Juniper pulled out a folder containing the original business plans, recipe cards in her handwriting, and recordings of their conversations. "Because I have evidence that proves otherwise, including recordings of you telling investors that you had to get rid of that knave Irish girl before she caused problems." Laurent realized he was trapped. "What do you want?" "I want justice," Juniper said calmly, "and I want you to experience exactly what you put me through." Juniper's revenge was swift and complete. She bought Laurent's restaurant chain for a fraction of its value, then immediately fired him and exposed his theft to the entire culinary industry. The evidence was overwhelming: original recipes, witness testimonies, and even security footage from Le Bernardin Elite showing Laurent copying her work. "Culinary world rocked by recipe theft scandal." Read the headline in Bon Appetit. Chef Laurent Dubois exposed as fraud. Laurent's reputation was destroyed overnight. He was blacklisted from every major restaurant group, just as he had done to Juniper. His former colleagues and investors turned their backs on him, and he found himself unemployed and unemployable. But Juniper's revenge went beyond just destroying Laurent's career. She also transformed his failed restaurants into thriving community centers that actually fulfilled the original Roots and Wings vision. Each location became a celebration of immigrant cuisine, a training ground for young chefs, and a support system for local farmers. Juniper's own career exploded to unprecedented heights. She revealed herself as Phoenix at the James Beard Awards, presenting a speech that left the audience in tears. Her restaurants were hailed as revolutionary, and she became the youngest chef ever to win the Outstanding Chef award. From betrayal to brilliance, the Phoenix Chef's incredible journey. Read the cover of Food and Wine, featuring Juniper in her kitchen surrounded by her diverse team of chefs. but Juniper's greatest satisfaction came from using her success to help other young chefs who had been betrayed or exploited. She established the Juniper Callahan Foundation, which provided legal aid and financial support to emerging chefs facing recipe theft or workplace discrimination. "They tried to crush me because they thought I was too soft," Juniper said during her acceptance speech. "But sometimes the people who underestimate your kindness are the ones who fail to recognize your fire." Laurent, meanwhile, ended up working as a line cook at a chain restaurant in suburban New Jersey, watching Juniper's rise to fame from afar. He would see her restaurants featured in magazines, her recipes praised by critics, and her social mission celebrated around the world. The man who had once mocked Juniper's dreams was now living in the obscurity he had tried to force upon her. Every food show he watched, every culinary magazine he saw, was a reminder of how spectacularly his betrayal had backfired. "I destroyed my own legacy the moment I betrayed her," Laurent would tell his therapist years later. "I was so focused on stealing her success that I forgot to nurture my own creativity." Juniper's story became legendary in the culinary world. She proved that authentic passion and genuine purpose would always triumph over theft and betrayal. Her restaurants were studied in culinary schools around the world, and her business practices became a model for ethical restaurant operations. "The best revenge against someone who steals your recipes," Juniper would tell her students, "is to create something so meaningful that theft becomes meaningless." At age 30, Juniper was running a global restaurant empire, mentoring young chefs, and using her platform to advocate for social justice in the culinary industry. She had transformed from a betrayed and broken young chef into one of the most powerful voices in food service. The girl who had once been told she was too emotional to succeed in restaurants had become the woman who redefined what it meant to be a successful chef. Her story proved that sometimes the greatest comebacks come from the deepest betrayals.